Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new Panther Podcast episode. My name is Justin.
My name is Anastasia.
And we have a special guest today.
Hi. Hello. It's me. My name is Annie Okuhara. I'm a sound designer, Foley content creator and partner, and student. So I'm here with some lovely people from Chapman, and we're just going to talk about sound design and whatever else we would like to talk about, I guess.
Yes. Awesome.
Why did you choose sound design, and how did you explore that? So I guess for me, sound design was an intersection of different things that I enjoyed. So yeah, I'm a music major. I didn't really touch sound design at all before last August or last June. It was really recent. And I realized that I wanted to go down a technology route, a more STEM-based route. You know, music, STEM, the intersection is sound design, like no doubt. I have a degree in music technology, technically. It's like an emphasis. It's not even going to be written. It's just going to say BA music. But, you know, that alone is going to set me up pretty well, I think, for whatever I want to do, sound design related. But, it started a lot with freelancing and just word of mouth, really. There's nothing quite as, widespread as that, especially when you have students in classes also looking for sound designers, and the word just kind of goes around. So I was really lucky to meet people who were very open to recommending other sound designers, and some of the best friends and connections I've had were just people who talks to each other from other friends. So
wow.
Yeah.
What was your inspiration for just doing sound design? Was there oh, I watched this movie and you were inspired by that movie, or was it just a personal hobby that started off?
For me, it was video games. Okay. So when I think of my favorite sound design in video games, I think of cozy games and comfort games like Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley, just anything that is therapeutic to me, especially during COVID, when that was all I did was just play games. And those sound design aspects just really carried over into everything that I do film related. I think a lot about what is, comforting, what is going to actually stick with the person, not just sound editing to make it sound passable, but what is actually going to stay with people. It's such an incredible field, and sound design is pretty hard. We try to do some Foley stuff, and I mean, it's pretty hard. And I saw some of your videos on Instagram. They're incredible.
With lettuce, cheese, onions, tomatoes, ketchup, mustard, pickles, and top bun together in that order!
Got your noodles all ready?
お持ち帰りになさいますか？先輩、グッジョブ。
Incredible. I think so. Can you talk and just walk us through the process that how you make those videos? Yeah. So it's been a while. I mean, I initially started those videos essentially to get myself off the ground in terms of a portfolio. That was the main thing. Was I hear a lot of things about Instagram is becoming the new creative LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. So I started that last June or May. It was right after I had gotten back from a semester abroad in Japan, and of course I got overwhelmed with media and TV and games there, and it just made me realize that if I really want to go down this path, then I need a portfolio. I need something to go off of and show people, even if I'm not the one who actually did the Foley for SpongeBob or Toy Story. It's so important to show that you can do those things, and what better thing to do than overdub the shows and movies from your childhood, because you already know those. So those initially, they both started initially for fun, obviously. I'm fortunate enough that I'm a percussionist, so I have about 10 years of classical percussion training, and that certainly carried over. I remember coming back to the States, seeing my percussion studio that 10 of us share. There's all these knickknacks and everything, and seeing that and just thinking, oh wow, there's a lot I could do here. We have wood blocks, tambourines, cymbals, ceramic bowls, and just about anything you could think of. And I guess in that regard, it was my first Foley stage. And a lot of those videos were inspired by someone by the name of Josh Harmon, who does I do content similar to his. It's like, you've got yourself sitting down doing Foley over a clip that's just playing over. And so what I do is nothing original in terms of the layout, but I really tried to go for content that was not just what would pop off on the algorithm, but like also what would be special to me and that I knew I could do well, which it tended to be cartoons and animation, I guess.
There's this very specific niche of like content such as this that some people really enjoy watching. It's just really satisfying, in my opinion.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
Actually,
satisfying is probably the best way.
Yeah, like I watched the first two videos on your page, and then I was like, damn, this is so fun. And I just continued scrolling, and then I didn't notice how it became 12 a.m., to be honest.
It's easy, especially, obviously I only have probably like maybe a little over 20 of those, but like,
that's a lot.
There's people who have like 100
videos.
I'm like, oh my god, I'm scrolling for hours. But yeah, it's a big testament to how important sound is and how fun it is, especially when you have good gear and good quality sound that just like that brings it to life.
Going back to that, we just had a discussion in our editing class today, and a professor said sound is 50% of the film. Do you think you agree, or do you think it's a little bit more?
I was thinking about this in the car, actually. So, I would never say that. I'm sure there's other people who disagree. I would never personally say that sound is more important than the visuals. It could be equal, but I would never say it's like more important, depending on the film, obviously. But it's certainly enough where if you didn't have sound, you would notice, and I would say it wouldn't. It definitely wouldn't send the same message. It wouldn't have the same impact on people if you change the sound, if you don't have a good sound designer or especially a location mixer. Right. There's a lot of people who they don't take into account the importance of having a good location sound mixer, or they'll sacrifice a little budget for it and just have their friend do it. And those are the ones that I get the phone calls for of like, we need help. We need you to fix this. We had a generator running. There was like a really bad AC or someone's lav didn't work. So it's definitely gonna bite you in the ass if that's not accounted
Most
for.
of your requests are just like, can you fix the AC or like background noise?
A lot of them, that's certainly a good portion of them is a lot of the times, especially in student films, you have your main Dodge Sounds students, like the sound design minors emphasis, and usually they're the ones who people will contact for like sound mixing and sound designing. A lot of, I guess, people contacting me saying, I heard you fix this person's film, like, can you fix mine? kind of thing. And then so it's a mix of that and also people who are like, I really love your content, like, can you bring our film to life? So I'll be their sound mixer and their sound designer, or just one, and those are always really fun to work with.
That's really cool.
So you work with both films and video games, correct?
Yes.
What do you like more?
So this is the interesting part. I don't really watch movies much.
Okay.
I was never really, I have like ADHD, so like I never had time, I guess, to just sit and watch movies as a kid. That wasn't a huge part of my childhood. It was more TV shows and like kind of shorter form things. But for me, sound design was always, I guess, sound design for film was always a gateway to sound design for video games. That's my like ultimate goal. And sound design for film is a lot more freelance. It's always moving. There's always projects. People need a sound designer. But sound design for video games, you're talking like one position opens up at like Blizzard. You got 400, 600 applicants for the same position. So, there's no way to like stand out unless you have some kind of portfolio. And a lot of people go the route of, I'm going to start doing sound design for film, show people that I have a good ear and editing skills, and you go from there.
Right.
Just kind of build up and then eventually get make your
So
way.
I guess, is freelance kind of a big part of your, I guess, like, if you were to break down like your workflow with everybody? Is it mostly freelance gigs, or is it more like, or is that something that you're like you enjoy doing?
I mean, freelance, I think for any sound person, or I especially notice it in like I guess you could call it like gaffers and electric, like those people too. It's very freelance. Like it's hard to find anyone who would like reliably, employ you for that kind of thing, just because projects are so, budget to budget, and it's hard to like commit to one person. But for me, yeah, freelance. I've been freelancing for about 9 months now, since about June. I always said like, oh, I don't want to live like gig to gig, or like, I guess in this case paycheck to paycheck, but that's kind of the rite of passage for a lot of people in film and video games.
What are the most important qualities for sound designer, and why do you think so?
Ooh, that's a good one. So I'd say the first one that comes to mind, this is for film, video games, anything really related to the arts, is you have to be able to take criticism and feedback. It's not your film, you gotta listen to whoever's directing this creative vision and be willing to be flexible, even if you personally don't think that's, the best option or the best sound or atmosphere. But also it relates to, your workflow and how you edit, how you use different softwares, how you mix. Obviously that feedback would come more from like other sound designers and people who have been in the industry longer than you. Probably the most important quality of being a sound designer is being flexible. Even if you spent, hours editing this one thing, creating this one atmosphere, sometimes you gotta scrap it because they don't like it, or they want something changed. But most of the time they love it, and it's always good to just have multiple ears to listen for little changes.
I'm really glad you mentioned directors and producers. So how does the workflow goes in the room with director and producer?
I like to call it the ping pong match, where it's basically, I guess it depends on where you step into the film in terms of like the workflow. Sometimes I'll be jumping on right as picture lock is happening because the sound designer quit, or sometimes I'll be contacted right after they look at dailies and realize, oh shoot, our sound mixer didn't do the best job. So and then sometimes I know about the project like 3 months before it's even filmed. So it depends. When you receive the first cut of the film, that is where you realize you have your work cut out for you, like literally, quite literally. But what people don't often realize is that the sound is not edited at all. That's often the job of the sound designer, or I guess if you have a bigger studio, it would be specifically like the sound editor. But I guess in terms of workflow, it's a lot of kind of kitchen sink dump editing. Like you get all the files, you get everything just set for you. And I'll spend like, 3 to 10 hours just on that first pass of the film. I'll send them the first cut, and then that's where the ping pong starts. It's like I send them everything, and then they email me back with like 5 pages of notes, just like at 3 seconds we want this instead, or we want more here, less here. Yeah. So at that point, you just kind of start sending it back and forth, adding things. Sometimes they're like, we want entire new sound effects, new Foley, just on like the 4th ping pong, and I'm like, that was a little late, but it's a lot of collaboration. I guess speaking to like other important qualities of a sound designer, you have to be fast. Like you can't like slack on certain parts, especially when there's the ping pong match happening, because people are, you could send it at 12 p.m. and they're gonna take another 6 hours at least just to respond. So it's less time, I think, than people realize to get all that stuff done.
How do you think about AI in general, and do you think it's going to affect the audio department, or do you think I feel like if it does, like for example, like, oh, is it going to steal my job, or is it going to be, do you see it as a positive note, as if this could be a tool to make you work faster? Maybe what is your opinion about?
Yeah, I guess it depends on what kind of position the person is in, because in terms of location sound and people like go to set to record sound, I don't see that. I could be wrong. I don't see that ever being replaced by AI anytime soon, unless they make robots that like can hold a boom mic, then maybe, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. I do see kind of potential issues with everything in post. I know there's already colorists being replaced and especially editors. You know, ultimately that work is just so nitty gritty, and there's so much manual editing to be done that I don't see take my job kind of issue happening anytime soon. I'm sure it will happen eventually, but right now I think there's still a big need for real humans with real ears to mix in Dolby Atmos and you know, edit. That being said, sound is all digital. It's all files. There's nothing stopping an AI from completely sound designing its own film. As long as you can read these waveforms and transients correctly, then you know, it'll do it perfectly fine. Would you want your credits to say edited by AI? True. Some people might.
At the end of the day, like machine, they can read it, like they can understand the code, but do they really understand what they're doing? Probably not. They're like they're just following the code. Well, thank you so much for sharing this story.
Yeah, of course.
Over.
Yeah, thank you for having me. That's fun.
And our Instagram is going to be above our heads right now. So if you guys want to contact any of us, anything.
Check Annie's.
Right.
Check the videos.
Okay. Well,
All right. Well, thank you
Thank you so
for
much.
watching. Thank you for coming, and wait for our next episode.
Perfect.
Bye.
Bye.